in just to see them with their jerseys on, doing what they've been doing really for the last, 50 practices. It's really hard going in as a coach right now because you usually have scrimmages in an inner squad where you have kind of a feel for your team. And all I've been able to go by is practices and playing 4 quarters in our practices. But we've been averaging about 80 points a game in our practices. And so that was my hope, is that this team has that kind of pace, that will shoot it like that all the time. But it was good to see that they were able to do that when we put the jerseys on.
I'm muted. I'm unmuted now.
That's okay.
This Zoom stuff. You talked about the practices. Did you get the sense that it was a different feeling than a regular first game? With a little bit more practice opportunity under your belt?
Yes, and you can see, I started a freshman, Jade Gansky, who she's had 50 practices to adjust to college basketball. Normally, a freshman has about 18 before we start to play. And I'm pretty confident in Jade. She's a great player. But I think that it's afforded her an opportunity to make that transition a little bit easier. And for a lot of my younger players, I think maybe people thought this year that we would be young. We are, but we also have great experience and we have high impact transfers. And so I think that it's taken a little bit less for us to have to replace our seniors and things just because we're really well-rounded.
The shooting, I think right from the start, I think you guys end up shooting 90% from the field in the first quarter. It did seem like that was, really clicking tonight.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that, we talked with the players after the game was over, and a lot of that was just that pure joy of being able to finally play. And I think that some of that is adrenaline. Not going to lie to you, the way that our season ended last year, there's a bitter taste there. We had the ball in our hands with an opportunity to go to the NCAA tournament, and there's a lot of players that are back, they're out on the floor for that. And so that's been on their minds. And I think partly it was just getting out there and being able to start over again and to get back to that point and to have that opportunity to win a championship again.
And it seemed, especially early, you guys showed that you got some serious range on this team, it seems like.
Yeah, it's different than last year. We just have a different look because, we relied so heavily on Hallie and Anna last year. And sometimes as a coach, you think, okay, how are we going to have the opportunity to replace them with how much they did for us? And I've just gone about it in a different way and said, we're going to need multiple people to do that for us. But our look is different, especially because someone like Jade, we have 3-point shooters at the big position now. What happened last year is that Grass saw a lot of double and triple teams, so did Hallie. It's really given Katie Essen an opportunity to work solo on the inside because we've surrounded her with shooters. And so if you help off of someone, we feel like that we can make an extra pass and that we can knock it down. But our transition game also, I think, is pretty exciting. We like to push and run. The players love the style. And, for the 50 practices that we have had, it hasn't felt like 50. And I think the players would tell you that too, because we've been recreating ourselves. We've been recreating our style. We've really been working on being able to push. And I've been really concerned about being able to play this pace with wearing the mask and them being able to do that for an entire game. And we maybe ran out of gas a little bit at the end, but overall, I thought they did a really good job with that.
You mentioned a little bit the energy of just being back out there and playing. What kind of response did you see from your players? And just, I'm sure, the practice has been nice, but game's a whole new thing. I'm sure you get sick of practices after a little bit.
Well, I was thinking about today, it's National Girls and Women's in Sport Day, and you think about the opportunity to participate, the opportunity to compete, the opportunity to play. And it's a significant day in that respect. And the fact that for the players, just the opportunity to wear the jersey again and to get to play. I think we appreciated that before, but we appreciate it even more now. So I think there's some joy in that. I know for my coaching staff, even as coaches, just to see your players finally get the opportunity to get out there and to start to do something that they love to do. It was a great day. And I have to say, us playing in McPhee was different without our fans. We miss them a lot. But I really have to say that this team has done a great job of shifting and pivoting and completely going along with whatever is going to happen and making the best of it.
the transition well with that. I was going to ask about McPhee next. I mean, I've been at a lot of games throughout this year, and even for me, it was weird. Going from parents
Yeah.
to no fans at all. That's what I guess you kind of have to bring your own energy a little bit with that.
You do, and we actually talked about that ahead of time. If you watch a lot of the D1 games, the ones that stand out to me when I watch them on TV, the energy of the bench are the ones that really stand out, because those teams have to bring that for themselves. And so we talked a lot about the energy from our bench, the joy and passion to play, just creating that on their own. And yeah, it was a little bit different, but there's some competitiveness in a lot of my players that, especially like a Katie Essen, it doesn't matter if she's playing at McPhee, if she's playing down in Zorn, she's going to compete. And that was fun to see them get back to that. If you look at like our scoring tonight too, you're looking at a Katie Essen who's been in our league for 4 years, Maisie Deal, who transferred last year, Courtney Crouch, who transferred, Tyra Betcher, who transferred, a freshman. And we've just kind of recreated ourselves, and it was nice to see that click tonight.
And to have, I think, 4 players in double digits too. I mean, you have kind of a balance there that seems pretty tough to stop.
Well, the other thing that, we saw Jessie Rudin last year start to come on when she took over at the point guard, and we made that move at Christmas last year. And I felt like that was when we really started to become the team that we ended up at the end of the season. Having a freshman point guard in this league is crazy. Jessie's been playing like this all of the 50 practices that we've been here. She's been on fire, and has shot it well. And having a 5'10" point guard, not going to lie, love it. Just love the length and love the vision that she has. And she also stretches it. So, the minutes that we put in with her last year as a freshman, and the experience that she got on the floor during the Wyatt tournament, especially last year, I just see her as a sophomore being one of the best players in the league now.
I think that's all the questions that I had. I must say, a 5'10" point guard, if it's me, is not nearly as exciting.
Yeah, and I like my quickie point guards too, but especially the 5'10" point guard is unique. And I just think there's such an upside for Jessie, just because you just don't see it very often. So,
awesome. Well, that's all the questions that I had. I don't know if Nick was looking to ask.
Just listening in, Coach. Thank you for doing this.
Oh, absolutely. I appreciate you guys taking time to cover us. I know it's crazy right now. So
I felt like I was witnessing history. One of 20 people in McPhee.
Yep.
Very weird.
Very weird. Yep.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure we'll be chatting over these next few weeks quite a bit.
Okay. Sounds great. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you. Have a good night.